everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Mandalorian Review Show on the Merc with the Movie blog feed. I'm one of your hosts, Shawn, and I'm joined by Wade, and as a special surprise last-minute guest, we also have Sara with us.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah, it's a surprise to me.
Yeah, you said last minute. Really, it was literally last second, because, I mean, like, within a minute, and she's on.
Did you see me lurking, or did you just, like, how did this happen?
I saw on the side your little thing popped up that said you were online, and I was like, well, hell, Sarah's on. Let's see what she's doing, because I remember you had a funny little thing about how you ended up seeing it for the first time, so I was like, yeah, let's see what she thought.
Okay.
So let's do it this way. Obviously, on this show, we're going to be We're going to be talking about. Yes, we will watch the show before we talk about it, but we will be talking about the Mandalorian, the show on Disney Plus, and we'll be here every week after a new episode airs to talk about it. So really quickly, actually, because you just brought it up, Wade, I want to start with your guys' first experiences watching it in terms of getting into it, just because there was so much talk online about how hard it was to actually get the show to play.
Yeah, so, for sure.
Sara muted herself. So Wade, what was your experience like the first time you went to put it on? Did you get in there kind of easy, or did you have trouble?
No, I had some problems, dude. I got up early. I got up at 7 o'clock in the morning to watch it, and I'm sitting there, and I couldn't get on at all. I downloaded the app just fine, but then it had it just said that it wasn't able to connect. And then you informed me that there were problems with it, so I just set it to the side until around lunchtime and tried again, and then it worked for me. So, or maybe before lunch, and then it worked for me. So,
Sara, what was it? What was the journey to watching The Mandalorian?
Oh man, guys. Okay, so my husband's a huge Star Wars fan, and I'm like casual, maybe more than casual. So my husband got up around like 7, and I stayed in bed, and I was just like, well, he's probably gonna watch the episode without me, and that's okay. At first I was like kind of hurt. I'm like, he's gonna watch it without me, and then I was like, well, that's okay, because I know he's gonna want to watch it again, so it doesn't matter. So then I woke up around like 10. He like came in the room and like woke me up and was like, I can't wait any longer. We need to watch The Mandalorian. And I was like, why didn't you just watch it without me? And he's like, because I wanted to watch it with you. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. And I was like, that's so nice. I said, but you could have watched it. Like, it's fine, whatever. So then we went to actually watch it, and the app, it wasn't working on Xbox. So he was getting really upset. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. I'm sitting there like I'm on my phone watching like Inside Out on my phone as he's like freaking out because I've never seen Inside Out, but he's like,
so good.
We'll try and watch something else. And I'm like, okay, so I'm trying to watch it on my phone, and I'm just sitting there, and he's like keeps hitting the refresh on his Xbox, and it keeps, every time you do it, it will like go a little further, and it'd be like, sorry, connection issues or whatever, and he gets so mad. He's like, are you kidding me? It took probably like 20 minutes, and then it finally worked, and he was very happy.
Yeah. Even when I got it to play, it had some issues with it during the streaming, so But I mean, I've watched it 2.5 times so far. So
oh my gosh.
I've also seen it 2.5 times.
I've seen it once. But we almost watch it again tonight, if that's any consolation.
Yeah, that's better.
I had a much easier road to watching the show. Monday night I went to go see Parasite. I got home, and it was probably about 11 o'clock. I sat around for about an hour, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go to bed now. And I got in bed and I looked at my phone one last time, and people on Twitter were like, Disney Plus is live right now. And I went on to my Amazon, my Fire TV, and I looked through the app and I couldn't find it. And I was like, all right, I'll wait about 5 minutes, see if it shows up. It showed up. And then I was like, all right, if I can get in the next 10 minutes and if I can start The Mandalorian, I will watch it before I go to sleep. It took me about 10 minutes to get it downloaded and to get it to start up because there were already some connection issues then. But It only took me about 10 minutes. I started the episode. I had no problems when I was watching it. And then as soon as the episode ended and I tried to take a look around the rest of the app before I went to sleep, the entire thing crashed. So
wow.
I got the episode in that night. Perfect timing. I watched it the night after again, and then I got halfway through it before we had to start recording this. So it's paused on my other monitor, and IG-11 is pointing his gun at the camera right now. So,
oh my god.
Oh, that's sweet.
So let's move into general thoughts about the episode overall. We are gonna dive in a little bit deeper later on, but I want to get everybody's general reactions to this this thing we watched. Sarah, why don't you start?
Okay. Okay, so I have a little story before we jump into my thoughts.
Okay,
but
go.
So when you guys first announced that you guys were going to do a Mandalorian recap show, and I wasn't automatically offered. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Hang on a second.
I was
oh man.
No. Listen. So I was like, wow, okay, I know Star Wars, I can hang or whatever. But then I'm watching this episode, and when the episode ended, I was like, there's a good reason they didn't ask me to be on the show. The whole time I'm asking my husband, so what's happening? Who's that? What's going on? And he's like, shh. And he's trying to explain to it. I'm like, wait, I'm really confused. What's happening? And I'm like, and he's like, well, so my overall thoughts are, I thought it was really solid. I think there is a lot of deep fandom stuff there where he was super excited. He was like, oh, they're going deep into the lore, and oh, they're talking about this, and I'm like, oh, that's I have no idea what's happening, but okay, that's really cool. I really enjoyed the episode. It really felt like a Western, and I thought that was really cool. I'm gonna keep watching it, and I want to learn more, and I feel like the casual viewer because I'm just I don't really know what's going on, but I liked what I saw.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, Wade, what were your thoughts?
The first, I want to say that now I feel super bad. I'm sorry, Sarah.
No, don't feel bad.
It was not intentional at all. I did think about asking you to be on here too, but it just.
Well, here we are.
I honestly just assumed that evenings or in weekends maybe you'd be busy and you didn't care that much about Star Wars because you talked before about how Star Wars was the least interesting thing on Disney Plus, and
did I say that? I don't think I
no, but something like that.
You said that at the same time that you thought that you were happy that Collider fired Harloff.
Yes.
Also,
yes, you're right.
I would like to amend what Wade is saying. You were considered, and then when it was decided that I would be on Afterlife with you, I said that was enough.
Wow. Okay, I get it. So, well, like I said, no hard feelings because I just watched the episode and was super confused and I can't hang with these guys.
Well, you're here now, and that's what matters.
But it looks pretty.
Yeah. And that right there, the looks of it, original trilogy written all over it, dude. That was the only thing that I expected was for it to have that original trilogy feel. Other than that, I allowed myself to be completely open. I had no idea or expectations at all. And it was beautifully shot. There was some great dialogue in there. Yeah. And just some great little throwback things. And hell, dude, I'm trying to muzzle myself, man. I love this thing so much, dude. I just want to jump on it like a pillow when I was 14 and just hump the hell out of it, dude. It was so amazing.
Oh.
Okay.
Huh. Yes, I also very much enjoyed this episode. I loved it. I was, as I think I've told absolutely everybody because I don't ever shut up, I was hesitant about this show. I was worried about it. I didn't know if it was going to be something that I would enjoy, but that was obviously proven wrong, seeing as I've seen it 2.5 times.
Man.
I want to touch on what you said, Sarah, about being a Western, because I I watched it the second time with my grandparents because they are both big like Clint Eastwood and Western fans. And when I was watching it the first time, I was like, this is just a Western. And I showed it to them and they were like, yeah, you're right. And I kind of been thinking about it. And when you break it down beat by beat, it is a Western, down to like when he goes to that compound at the end of the episode, that looks like, so that's a compound straight out of a Western.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like the whole, everything about it. And one of the things that felt the most like a Western to me was, or at least a take on the Western genre, was the score, which I don't know if you guys have listened to the score on its own, but I have it on my Spotify because they released like 6 tracks from the first episode and it is perfect. The Mandalorian himself, his like theme actually sounds a whole lot like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That wah, wah, wah. I don't know if you guys could hear it during the episode, but it's like a weird alien mix on the good and the bad, the good, the bad, and the ugly theme. What did you guys think about the score specifically? Was that anything that even popped into your mind while you were watching it?
Oh yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah. Oh man. I was making notes, and at one point I put in there that the music is really nice. Okay, and then the scene comes when they play, as it's been described elsewhere, the Rocky music. Yeah. And that completely put me out of it. Well, not completely, because the scene right before that put me out of it. The learning how to ride the thing, but
I loved that.
That was the only piece of music from the score that really took me out of it and bothered me. It did not feel like Star Wars at all, and I noticed as soon as I heard it.
So I did hear somebody describe it as the Rocky. And we can talk about spoilers, guys. There's going to be spoilers in this. I don't think we're going to be able to hold back. We will go even deeper into spoilers later, so we'll kind of try to keep it general-ish at the beginning, but there is a scene that you're talking about where they are like, they're kind of riding across an open landscape, and I did not think Rocky until somebody brought it up. I just thought cowboy on horseback riding across the desert or something. Like that is, I didn't even think about Rocky. I thought, and that scene before, I loved him taming the oh god, I don't know what it was called. I can't think of the name of them.
The slug.
Yeah, these creatures. It was very cool. It was like, that whole scene is like an older cowboy teaching a younger cowboy like how to break a horse. You know, a blurg. That's what they're called.
Dude, they could have just skipped over that whole scene. To me, it seemed unnecessary, boring. It took me out of the episode completely. It came off a little cheesy to me, even. I just think they could have easily cut from Nick Nolte telling Boba that he needed one of those things to ride, and then to them just riding across the desert to the Rocky music without any of that taming scene. It just, for me personally, I wasn't into it.
Sarah, what do you think
about that taming scene?
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like that it was a little random. It definitely just kind of maybe slowed the episode down for me, and the episode's kind of slow already. Which means like I didn't not like it, but I also was just kind of like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? Like, why is he it was a little random.
Yeah, and I mean, if he's supposed to be so badass, then why the hell does he need to be taught how to ride that thing anyway?
Well, so I think that part of that is like, he is such a badass that the guy had to be like, calm down. All right. You're a big bad Mandalorian. Like, getting frustrated is not going to help you. Just you're the Mandalorian. You got to be calm, approach it. You know, I really liked this scene because you're right. It does slow the episode down. I loved that this episode was slow. We've got 8 episodes of this.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's going to be, we're going we're going to have some time. There's going to be some slow moments in this show, and I loved it. I think if this were a Star Wars movie and that scene had been in there, I'd be on your side, Wade, that I don't think that scene would have been necessary. But we've got 8 episodes. This episode alone already was shorter than I expected it to be. It was about 38 minutes. I don't think that was a bad thing. I thought it was actually perfectly timed.
That was.
But
it flew by.
Yes. But like, I think we've got these 8 episodes. We've got the time. These are the kinds of scenes that you would cut out if it was a Star Wars movie where you had 2 hours to 2.5 hours. But since we have the time, I feel like we should keep these in. And I thought that it really, really fit with the whole vibe of this being a Western, because it really did. I think I said earlier, but, it is like the older cowboy teaching the younger cowboy how to ride a horse. Like it is. And I do like that the Mandalorian isn't completely the biggest badass in the world already.
Right. I get that.
I like specifically when he gets attacked by the blurgs. When he first arrives on that planet, he freaks out. He's just like punching the thing. He's like, "Oh God, get it off!" And I like that. Like that cool demeanor does break, but I don't want to get too far into this just yet.
I do want to one last thing on this. To me, when I'm watching that scene of him taming that thing, I know Filoni directed this episode, but even if he hadn't, and this was still in the episode, that has Filoni written all over it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because those things are from Rebels, I think.
Oh, are they?
I think that they were in Rebels.
It was just one of those scenes that was like what I call a filler scene. Just like a feel-good filler scene that was completely unnecessary, but hey, whatever. But like you said, it did fit because of the Western theme and training, breaking in the thing. So, I mean, it did fit. It just, I found it to be unnecessary, but.
Yeah. No, I understand that completely. I enjoyed it, but I do like it. I agree that it's unnecessary. I just think that, like, we've got the time. Let's use it, especially since I think things are going to speed up because we're going to get some slow moments, but I'll tell you guys, I was looking at the episode listing. Almost every episode is written by Jon Favreau. Episode 5 is directed by Dave Filoni and written by Dave Filoni. So I think episode 5 is going to be, episode 5, and then there's one other episode besides 5 that is written by somebody who isn't Dave Filoni. I think Rick Famuyiwa did an episode. But I think when we get to that episode where it's not written by Filoni and it's written and directed by Dave Filoni, when it's not written by Favreau and it is written and directed by Dave Filoni, I think that's when we're going to get some stuff going down.
We're going to get some major inside baseball, dude.
Definitely. So before we dive in real quick, we're going to take a break to hear about some other Merc with the Movie blog shows.
Hello everybody, Jay Wade
and Kaylin here
to tell you about SEN Afterlive.
It's an after-show podcast where we expand on the week of craziness on SEN Live, as well as have guests on to join in the fun.
Yep, and we get personal too. We do movie reviews, and at times we go way off the rails, which I guarantee is always Kaylin's fault.
Hey, how rude and not true. So, come join us on the Merc with the Movie blog feed, and remember to rate, share, and subscribe, and as always, enjoy.
Hi everyone, this is Sara, host of Go Get That Rose podcast, a podcast that is dedicated to talking about all things Bachelor Nation. Join Jay Wade, a man in his 40s who is recently new to all things Bachelor Nation, and myself, someone who has been watching passionately for the past 3 years, as we review, share our thoughts on each episode of whatever show is currently on TV, whether that is Bachelor, Bachelorette, or Bachelor in Paradise. We might not even know everyone's name, but we have fun nonetheless. You can find us on Merc with a Movie blog feed wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey there, Schmodown fans. This is Josh the Merc Rainer, and I am here to tell you about my show, Talkin' Schmodown. Whether it's Andrew Guy getting hit with a chair, John Roca screaming, "Outlaw!" or the emotional retirement of the Shire Wolves, I talk about it all. So you can catch me right here on Anchor and all the other major podcasting platforms. So, as I ask every episode, are you ready to talk Schmodown? I am.
Hey, it's Sara, and I'd like to tell you about Afterlife. It's a weekly Collider Live after show podcast where Mike, Shawn, and I give our takes on Roxy and Dorinda's antics, on Yoda's producing skills, and whatever Cody and Alex are up to in that booth. In addition to having guests, we expand on the crew's discussions and add our own craziness in the mix. You can find the show on Merc and Movie Blog feed on all the podcasting platforms. See you soon!
And we're back. Take the time to check out those shows. They are superb. We are going to be now going in deep on the episode. I think we're going to try to go through it kind of as it happened. We can do that, or we can just jump around. It's up to you guys. I'm not really sold on either way.
Yeah, let's start at the beginning and see what happens.
That's
good idea.
Fine with me. And we opened as Wade said earlier, we opened on Boba Fett holding the tracker.
How the hell? Yes, dude. How the hell can you not be down when the opening shot is Boba straight up fucking tracking somebody? Sorry about the F-bomb. Straight up tracking somebody. So, I'm super excited, man. That's probably not going to be the only F-bomb I accidentally drop.
I'll say this real quick because the joking about the Boba Fett stuff made me think about it. I don't know if you guys have yet. Be careful. I know his name. Pedro Pascal just said it in an interview yesterday. And I was watching an interview with him, and he's like, my character's name is, and he just said it. So I do know his name. I'm not going to tell you what it is or if you're right or anything. But
well, I mean, it's Boba Fett. I mean, everybody knows that.
He said, my name is Boba Fett.
Oh, man, that means it's not Boba Fett.
Hey, you don't know that. I lie constantly. But yes, I did get that spoiled for me by Pedro Pascal himself. So I guess if anybody had to spoil it, I'm okay with him doing it.
Right.
That's why you don't watch interviews. You just ignore everything.
Just bury my head in the sand. You know what? I'm not going to watch The Mandalorian after. So I'm not going to watch Mandalorian because I don't want to be spoiled on The Mandalorian.
That sounds
that's the best way, dude, to avoid the spoilers.
Watching the show is the biggest spoiler of all.
Yeah.
So yes, we open up. We're on this ice planet that I do not believe was named, and I was not able to find a name anywhere. I'm not going to lie, I didn't look. I went to Wikipedia, and Wikipedia named the last planet, but neither of the other ones. So I just assumed that they're not named. But we open up. We see him with the tracking fobs. He's looking for somebody, and he goes into the bar. And immediately, we'd seen a lot of this scene, admittedly, from the trailers. Yeah. So we kind of knew how it was going to play out. But that scene was very good. What do you guys think of that bar fight scene at the beginning? Because I do actually have a couple thoughts about some maybe important things that happened in it.
Well, man, it was pretty cool. It was cool, man. I mean, obviously the best part was him not letting the guy get away who was trying to run away, which was also awesome that the guy was running away and he wouldn't let him run away. Yeah. And then essentially cutting him in half. That was awesome. I liked it all, and I liked I liked that they were using alien language. Mm-hmm. I think the bartender, it would have made more sense if he were the only one who spoke English, though, because he's the bartender, so you would expect him to be able to communicate with all of his patrons. As where Sansa's character was speaking English, and that just kind of put me off a little bit. Not enough to matter. But I did like that scene a lot, and I like the bit where after he saved Horatio's character, he's just like, Horatio's trying to be all nice, thank you, and then it's just like puts the puck down, and it's just not looking good for our dude in blue. I think he's blue. I'm colorblind.
I think he was blue.
Yes.
Sarah?
That scene was awesome. I been looking forward to the door slicing the guy in half scene since I saw it in the trailer, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. So that scene did not disappoint. I don't know how I feel about the character, the bounty character.
The Mandalorian?
But, no, the one that he
Oh,
was hunting.
Horatio
Mithril.
Sands' character.
Oh,
I think
what?
his name
I
is
don't know what.
Mithril.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that guy. Yeah.
You don't know how you feel about him?
I don't know how I felt about like the jokiness of it. Like I get it.
Oh, the humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
I
get.
thought it was like,
he was-
I'm nervous. I'm fucked.
Yeah. And it was.
Yeah.
It was that like nervous kind of. I don't know. This guy's not saying much, and also like probably the intimidation that he has a helmet on, so like you can't connect with the Mandalorian. Yeah, like we're not connecting to him that way right now, so you need to be able to connect to like another character. But I don't know, like sometimes I was kind of like, okay, he's our exposition guy right now, like he's just kind of telling us what's happening. Like
100%, yes.
But what happened, like I liked it overall, but I was like, okay, I see the purpose of this character right now. Like
Right.
I will hit with one real quick criticism, and it is nitpicking. When he's actually pulling the guy back, I did think the editing there was a little weird. It just felt.
I agree. It felt really weird.
I think that's just, Filoni. This is his first time directing live action. I think a cut like that would have worked in animation, but cutting from the guy back to the Mandalorian, back to the guy really quick, and then back to the Mandalorian. Like, it was a lot of weird cuts to angled shots, and it made the pulling feel like it wasn't really happening.
Yes, I completely
in a weird
agree.
way. That's really my only criticism of anything that happened on this planet. Everything else I very much enjoyed on this planet, but some things I wrote down because some thoughts I had is immediately when he walks in, everybody looks at him and they're like, that's a Mandalorian. And I love that. I love this I'm very excited to learn more about the Mandalorians, where they work. I don't know if you guys watched Jedi Council, but they had a very long first episode where Emma Fyffe pretty much gave a brief background of what the Mandalorians have been up to. And where we last left them in Rebels was Bo-Katan was reuniting the clans. And so we don't know anything that happened since then, anything that happened in the original trilogy or the 5 years since then. But apparently, people know who the Mandalorians are. So at least they're not completely gone, but like, they're looking at him like, oh, this is bad. And I also really liked that he didn't get really upset. Okay. He didn't get really upset until the Beskar armor got scratched.
Yeah.
I think that is a theme that I want to bring up as we go forward in the show. His pride in being a Mandalorian. And I think a lot of that comes from what we were shown later on. Doesn't look like he was born a Mandalorian. He was a foundling, which I assume a foundling is somebody that is found at a young age and brought into the Mandalorians instead of being born one. So he's very calm. And that's something that I like about the character that we see throughout the episode is he's calm and collected until you go too far. Right? In this scene, I think we see two examples of that. The first being when he's dealing with these guys antagonizing him, and then they scratch the armor, and he's like, that's disrespecting me as a Mandalorian. That's disrespecting the armor of the Mandalorian, and I'm not going to accept that. And that's when he starts to take everyone down. And second, when he's pulling the guy back, I don't think he planned on just taking him out until he got shot.
Right. I agree.
Because he's pulling him back, and then the guy shoots him, and he's like, you know what? No. You're going to mess with me. I'm not even going to put up with this. And he just takes him out with the door. And those were two little things in this scene that I really liked, that I think just two actions, right? Not even things spoken, but two actions that I think gave so much character to the Mandalorian instantly. I don't know what you guys think about those two things. Do you have any thoughts about those two moments?
I completely agree.
All right.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And then the one last line of dialogue I wanted to touch on in this scene is when he is talking to Mithril and he says, I can take you in warm or I can take you in cold. And I like that he's giving him the option. It's
Right,
just
right.
it's a lot of this show. We see a lot of, or this episode, him giving people the chance. And then when they don't take it, he's like, I gave you the chance. Now, I gave you the chance of the carrot. Now you get the stick. And that's not at all how that expression is supposed to be used, but that's how I used it.
Yeah, it shows he's not just a killer. He's not a bounty hunter because he likes to go around and hunt people down and kill them. He's just a bounty hunter, and he's going to do it, and he's going to treat people fairly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So after that scene in the diner, we have a quick little scene where they go. The Mandalorian takes Mithril. They kind of walk down that path that we saw him on at the beginning of the episode. And is this? I don't know if you guys noticed from this alien. He looks like the dude at the beginning of A New Hope that tells the Imperials that the Millennium Falcon, like on Tatooine where the Millennium Falcon is, he looks like one of those people. And I noticed that immediately. I guess I love bringing back the old alien.
It was the sound that I caught more than anything.
That's true. And he's playing like a little flute thing to summon people. I thought that was kind of cool. And I bring this scene up because you're probably thinking, why are we talking about this scene? It's a little thing that happened. There was something in here as well that I thought is very important to the character, where the first thing that comes through is a ship piloted by a droid, and the Mandalorian's like, nope, not doing that. No droids. And they bring in Brian Possen's character instead, who drives him. But I don't know if you guys saw in the trailers, they have not shown this scene in the show yet, but in the trailers is a scene of him as a kid with his world being attacked, and there are battle droids.
Oh, yeah,
in the background. Yeah. So we're operating under the assumption that probably whatever world he was from before he joined the Mandalorians was attacked by the Separatists during the Clone Wars. So I really like this little detail of like he still does not trust droids.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that too.
After that, they go to the ship. I don't really have anything to say about this scene. I thought it was I thought it was cool. It was like a little walrus monster. It looked really good, but there was nothing really too of note in there. I did like that the Mithril was like, we gotta get out of here, and just without saying a word, the Mandalorian goes over, picks up his gun, shocks the thing, and all right, let's go.
Yeah, and then he talks some more, and then he gets frozen in the carbonite. Dude, let's move to the good stuff, dude.
But also, the carbonite stuff.
I'm excited, dude.
I loved the carbonite stuff because
it was cool. Yes,
it's so
that was really cool.
When he's walking through there and he sees all this stuff, and you're tense, and then he looks at the carbonite and he's like, "Oh no!" And then
he realized it.
There, the Mandalorian's there in the background, and I love the reference to Life Day from the holiday special. He's like, "I was hoping to make it home for Life Day. I guess I won't get to see the family or whatever." And you just hear, "Probably not." And he grabs him. Oh, I loved it. I thought that was great. And again, it's the idea of, he said he was going to bring him in warm. And originally, I bet, the Mithril was like, warm or cold, you mean alive or dead. But he's like, all right, I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to let you have free reign of my ship as long as you do what you don't lie to me. And when he's like, yeah, he lied to me. He's not, using the evacuator. He is just looking around my ship and trying to escape. He's like, all right, you lost my trust. I can't trust you. I'm going to freeze you. And it's just all these moments I think really helped to build up the character of the Mandalorian very early on. So let's get to the stuff that you want to talk about, Wade. We see Carl Weathers. We go to this bar. He's turning in the bounties. We see Carl Weathers. There was some cool stuff in here that I liked. He tries to pay him with Imperial credits. And I think that there's a lot in this episode about the Mandalorian not liking the Empire. And the Carl Weathers character is like, hey, it works. You can use it. And he still will not accept it to the extent that he'll take half in the Moncala or whatever, or the I don't know kind of what currency it was, but he'll take half in this other currency instead of taking the full in the Imperial stuff. And he's told about this other bounty that is going to give him more, but it's not on the books, right? It's below. It's kind of a below the table thing. And so he goes, he meets up with these people, he walks in the room, and what do we see, Wade?
Oh, we see Apollo Creed. Or wait, after that?
After that, yeah, when he's given the thing and he goes to see...
Oh, we're to the good part now.
I was trying to get you there.
All right, he sees the stormtroopers.
Yes.
Yes, dude, he sees the stormtroopers, and they're all looking dirty as shit, because it's post Empire, and they ain't got nowhere to clean their uniforms.
No.
And the character there behind the table, can't remember his name, the director fella in real life, but he was brilliant, and you could tell right away by the way he was sitting and the way he was talking that he was Imperial officer of some sort.
He's also got, I'm pretty sure he's also got a big old Imperial symbol on like a necklace on his chest, which I did not notice until like the second time I watched it. I was looking at his neck and I was like, is that just the Imperial symbol on his neck? And I'm pretty sure he's wearing a little thing. I like that immediately upon entering the building, the Mandalorian is on edge when he sees the stormtroopers. Oh, yeah. And all it takes is one person coming out of a room that he didn't know was already there, and he's got his blasters out and he's ready to go. Sarah, what did you think of all of this stuff? Even if you have anything to add, going back to the Carl Weathers stuff, but the boring part probably.
Well, real fast, me and my husband, we just watched Rocky, and the first Rocky, and my husband said something like, "Oh yeah, Carl Weathers, he looks a lot like Billy D. Williams." And then the fact that I forgot he was in The Mandalorian, I was like, oh my God, we were just talking about how they look so much alike. Like, so to me, I was like, that's crazy. The scene you're just talking about with the stormtroopers, I'm trying to make sure all my names are lined up because I do not know Star Wars that well. I called them clone troopers or whatever, and he's like, there's no clones anymore. I was like, okay, sorry. I don't know. Sorry. But I thought that scene was great. I think for me, like, I am looking at this show more of like, maybe more of the like technical like standpoints of it, just because I don't know a lot of like the lore that's happening. But this scene was just like executed great. And also like just going back to like, we can, like you said, like you can feel the tension of the Mandalorian and you can't see his face. And like, that's like super impressive that we could feel like that he was on edge and that he was tense. And when he tries to shoot the guy, and I don't know, I just thought that scene was great. This was the part of the show where I leaned over to my husband and said, "What's happening?" I'm so confused. But I mean I like heist things like that, and once I kind of figured out what was going on, I was like, okay, like he's bad, maybe, I don't know, but we'll see.
I think we're going to get a whole lot more with Werner Herzog going forward, and I think that doctor is going to end up being important. And I think we'll talk about the doctor a little bit later. But yes, I loved that scene. I thought it was great. I was enthralled by Werner Herzog. Every sentence that came out of his mouth was
his voice is so good.
Yeah,
it's like Alan Rickman, like that deep, not even deep, but like just a distinct, like, I love it.
Yeah. And he offers the Mandalorian Beskar steel, and I noticed, and you're supposed to notice, it's very obvious. It's branded with the Imperial symbol. Were you going to say something, Wade? Sorry.
No, I said yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's branded with the Imperial symbol. And we get more about that in the next scene, but Werner Herzog tells him about this contact. He says he can't give him a whole lot. All he can give him is the tracker fob and the age of the person. And I thought it was interesting that the doctor was the one that had to be like, bring him back alive. And Werner Herzog, yeah, bring him back alive. But like, if you have to kill him, like, you can kill the thing. But yeah, I guess if you want to bring him alive, you can. So I thought that was interesting, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later on because I have a theory about that. But after that, he takes the Beskar steel. He's told that, I'm going to have more of this if you complete this job. And he goes off, and this is the part where I was really confused as to what was happening for a minute.
Me too.
he was just walking around, and I was like, shouldn't he be going to a ship? Shouldn't he be going? Because I really thought the Mandalorians weren't around. And then he goes down that staircase, and there's like a secret little den of Mandalorians down there.
Awesome.
It was cool. A bunch of them had the helmets with the antennas, like Boba Fett, and that was very cool. And then he meets somebody who's credited as the. I'm trying to look at her. I think the Forger or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it meets up with an armor forger. The Armorer is their name, and he hands over the Beskar steel, and they pretty much talk about how it was taken during the Great Purge. So it's implied that in between Rebels and now, the Empire took over. Well, I think the Empire had control of Mandalore during Rebels, but it seems like they took a bunch of the steel, and purge implies death.
Yeah, it does.
So we're not sure entirely what happened to the Mandalorians, but it already does not sound good. It sounds like they are very much a endangered race at this point. I don't know if they are endangered, more like anybody around them is in danger, but and the Armorer forges pauldrons, and in maybe one of my favorite parts of the episode, with every clang of the hammer on the steel, we flash back to him as a child. And I thought that was awesome. I thought that was some great editing.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That whole scene was awesome with the Forger, and the Forger's helmet was complete like Spartan kind of look, and it was just really sweet, dude. And I want to find out what his signet will be.
Yes, so that was he was asked, has your signet been revealed? And I have no idea what that means.
Oh, good.
Wait, do you have any idea what that means? Is it something Sarah and I missed, or do we not know what that is yet?
Like, do you know what a signet is?
I mean, like it's like a symbol, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a symbol, like your clan symbol.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, like but I would say, I don't know, he's a foundling, so it would depend on, I don't know, was he adopted by a specific clan? Because it would sound like he wasn't, or else he would know what his signet is. Yeah,
it's weird. We don't exactly know what that would be. We don't even really know the extent of what the foundlings are, to be honest. What we know is the Armorer says that the extra metal from the Beskar that was recovered is going to be used to sponsor foundlings. And he says that he was a foundling. So, with the flashbacks, we assume that means that they joined the Mandalorians later in life instead of being born into it, but we don't really know a whole lot. And I think this was one of my favorite scenes of the episode, just because there was so much implied Mandalorian lore in it. And I was like, yes, give me more. I want more. I want to know more about the Mandalorians. I don't know if you guys had similar experiences to that during this scene.
Yeah, anything Mandalorian, I'm thirsty for all the time.
I'm super interested by everything that was happening there. I did like they had like the skull symbol type thing over the door.
Yes,
I thought that
the
was
Mandalorian logo.
Yeah, I thought that was very cool, and I really hope that I assume it's going to be a common thing that'll happen throughout the show is he'll get pieces of armor from this armorer person. But I very much enjoyed that, and I hope we get more of that later, along with more Mandalorian lore. After that, the Mandalorian leaves that planet, and he heads to the third planet, and the only one that is actually named in the episode, and it is called, if I can find it, it is called Arvala 7. We're gonna Sarah's gonna hop out here now.
Sorry, guys.
Stick around for the whole thing, Sarah. It's okay.
No, it's all right. We're just happy that we caught you before we started, and that you could jump in for any of the call. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you for having me. I'm sorry I can't continue.
No, it's okay.
I'll keep
no
on watching, and I'll learn more and maybe come back another week.
Ooh, sounds good. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Have a good night.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right,
You
see you,
guys
Sarah.
too.
All right, so they head to Arvala 7. He lands there. He's attacked by 2 creatures, and I've already forgotten what the names of them. Blurg, is that his name?
Blorg or something?
Yeah, Blorg. Boba Fett, I think, was their name.
No, Boba Fett is the Mandalorian.
No, shit, you're right. I'm sorry. The Blurgs, they attack him, and I loved that scene. Like I said earlier, it was
that was cool.
see him panic. We saw a little bit of the flamethrower before it got broken. Which almost read to me like we're already spending so much money on this show. We can't do the flamethrower right now. Like, get it.
Let's just break it in the first episode so no one expects it anymore.
Yeah, we'll fix it by the last one, but we're gonna get rid of it for a little bit because we can't afford to do pyrotechnics right now. I thought that scene was awesome. I liked, he was about to get taken out by them before he's saved by Nick Nolte's character. And I love Nick Nolte's character. He's like, I have spoken.
Yeah, that's really cool. Hell, I didn't even know that was Nick Nolte until today.
Yeah, I didn't know until afterwards.
That he did a great job in that role.
Oh, 100%.
The taming the stupid blurg thing was not cool or necessary at all. And I could have done without it, followed by the Rocky music riding across the desert. But other than that, dude, Nick Nolte was cool, and that stuff was cool.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get more of him later in the show. At least I hope so.
Oh, I hope so, yeah.
There's also another character we're going to talk about in a minute that I also hope we see more of. We already talked about the Nick Nolte helping him learn how to ride a blurg. He mentions the ancient mythosaurs, which are something from old legends that I guess is now canon, but creatures that lived kind of like almost dinosaurs that lived on Mandalore that the Mandalorians would ride around on, and we get the Rocky scene of them riding across the desert landscape almost, or the rocky landscape. And when he gets there, the Mandalorian tries to pay him, and he's like, nah, this is enough. You doing this, getting rid of these people that are destroying my land and my home. That's enough for me. And he says, you're a Mandalorian. I've only ever heard the stories, but if you're really what you are, then you should be able to handle this no problem. And he rides off. I loved that. I liked him offering to pay him. I liked Nick Nolte refusing to take the money. I liked everything about that scene. And again, that felt very Western to me.
Yeah, me too.
The cowboy comes in from out of town and one of the locals helps him, and he's like, I'm kind of morally gray. Why are you helping me? And he's like, because you're better than what's down there. So I like that. Everything about this screamed Western. The Mandalorian climbs up. He kind of crawls. I love that he got down into a crawl to stay hidden instead of just walking up onto the edge.
Yeah, no shit, man.
I love that. And he gets out his binoculars and he starts looking at everything. And then we see maybe one of the highlights of the episode. The boy, IG-11, voiced by Taika Waititi.
Yes. Oh, that was Taika?
Awesome. That was Taika.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he walks in and he's like, I'm reciting the right of claim or whatever. I'm not going to do it again. Pew, pew, pew. I thought it was...
That's awesome.
And I loved their back and forth. I loved the rapport between them as both of them being members of the guild. How the Mandalorian immediately felt more comfortable talking around this person that he sees as a peer,
Right. Even though he was a droid, he was definitely... Yes. And then again, maybe he was just obligated to.
Yeah, it's probably because when IG-11 shoots him, he's like, "I'm a guild member," and he holds it up as there's a rule. We don't go after each other,
Yeah.
So we have the big shootout scene in the compound, and I thought that's awesome. I loved them. Them moving from cover to cover. It felt so much like I loved IG-11 pointing his guns up in the air and shooting the dude, and he just falls in out of frame.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I love they bring in the machine gun, and that also felt very much like a Western, where they're they're fighting all the bad guys, and then like a wagon wheels in, and the tarp comes off, and there's like a Gatling gun. Like that was what I kind of thought of. I loved him using the rope to pull the gun to the side so that it stopped shooting at him when he rushed the Gatling gun.
Yeah.
Like I loved the tactics. I just thought the fight scene was awesome.
It was well thought out and choreographed.
Yes, it was very logical. Like what he was doing was like, yes, this all makes sense. I loved the jokes about IG-11 being like, all right, I'm going to self-destruct now.
Yeah, that was awesome. And he's just like, dude, don't do that.
He's like, yeah, it'll be fine. I'm going to do it. It's fine. You want to see a magic trick? No, stop.
Yeah, that was a great shootout scene, dude. There was a lot of them too, man. The bad guys, I guess we would call them in this situation. Who knows, man? They might end up being the good guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to be honest, because of what we're about to talk about. But real quick before we move on from this fight, I just want to bring up, I thought it was awesome. But I did think IG-11 outshined the Mandalorian a little bit, and that's okay because this episode is like. Because I think this show, right off the bat, told us this is the Mandalorian's show, and we have this awesome side cast that you've seen in the trailers, but they're not all going to be in every episode. You know?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
So, this is one of IG-11's episodes, so we're going to let him shine. But, I'm going to need an action sequence pretty soon where the Mandalorian just goes ham in that same way. Because he was really good in this action sequence. I just think that he was a little overshadowed by the robot that could do complete 360 turns around the waist and stuff.
That movement was amazing from him, dude.
It looked great, and I was really worried about it because I didn't know if it would look great. Because I knew how the I knew how the IG droids were supposed to move because of IG-88 in he shows up in Clone Wars, and he might have showed up in Rebels as well. But I knew how they were supposed to move, and I was a little worried about that movement in live action, but it worked so well. I thought IG-11's movements looked amazing.
Yeah, completely agree.
They finished taking everybody out, and they're like, how do we get this door open? And I love that they both just look at the thing together. This episode had some great comedy. Like it was funny too. I was chuckling throughout it. So I enjoyed that. They blow open the door. They walk in, the guy comes out. Mandalorian Bob gets him. Anyone else? No? All right. They go, they find their target. It's in like a box. They open the box. It's a crib. And
it's the biggest letdown of the fucking episode.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I was let down, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
I yelled.
Did you? Right.
I saw the ears, and I was like,
yeah.
I was like, holy fuck, is that one of? And then the camera, we see it. It is a baby that is the same species as Yoda, and
yeah, baby Yoda.
I lost my shit.
How original and how un-Dave Filoni of that.
Oh, I absolutely loved it. But we'll talk about that in a second. I do want to just finish off the episode. Just finish recapping it. But IG-11 tells the Mandalorian, I'm going to kill this thing. That is what I was told. I was not told to bring it in alive. I was told to kill it. So IG-11 points his gun. We see a blast, and it's the Mandalorian having shot IG-11. And there's a scene as the episode ends that I can only describe as being ripped right out of E.T., where the Mandalorian reaches out and the little baby Yoda hand comes out and their fingers are like pointing at each other. That was hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, look at the little Yoda baby. Look at the little Yoda baby. Yeah. Total Mandalorian style right there.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it for the character because we saw earlier.
I get it. I'm just making fun of it.
I know. But I did love that, like, he sees this abandoned kid, and I have to imagine what he's thinking in his head is similar to what happened to him in his childhood.
But it's not a kid. It's a 50. Well, in their age,
Yoda
it's a
died
kid.
At 900 something.
Yeah. And see, when we found out that the bounty was 50 years old, I'm doing the math, and this is the only time you're going to hear me admit that I know that the Mandalorian is not Boba Fett. I was doing the math hoping that the target was Boba Fett. Okay. And I was thinking, dude, how cool is this? Is this if, like, this series is the Mandalorian trying to hunt down Boba Fett, and each episode, like, Boba Fett is just one step ahead of him. And oh man, I was like, dude, please let that be it. And then it turned out to be a baby Yoda.
Oh, that is when the show hooked me. I need to know more about this baby Yoda. Because we've only ever seen 2 of Yoda's species.
Yeah, for Yoda. Sure. Like, where the hell did this thing come from?
And I might drop some bombs on you. I don't know if you've heard this yet. That baby, 50 years old, right?
Right.
The Mandalorian takes place 9 years after the Battle of Yavin. Anakin Skywalker is born 41 years before the Battle of Yavin. 41 years to get to the Battle of Yavin. 9 years after, this baby Yoda is the same age as Anakin.
Dude, if they do some sort of, like, cloned Yoda thing, that's going to be stupid.
I don't think it's going to be cloned Yoda. What I thought about, I don't think this is going to be anything. I'm sure it's a coincidence, but it seems like a lot to be a coincidence. For them to be like, this is exactly placed, and this is exactly how old this thing is. I feel like there's a lot of information there that's like leading you to look back, all right, what's 50 years before that? And it is Anakin Skywalker's birth. I'm wondering if maybe, as we know, Anakin Skywalker was not born normally. He was conceived through the Force. What if there's a chance that this little baby Yoda was also conceived through the Force?
Yeah, but that would have to mean that Palpatine conceived both of them, because Palpatine is the one who made Anakin.
Yes, that is what we.
So, are we really going to go back to that well, dude? Are we really doing this, man?
So, I don't think we're doing the Palpatine stuff. I think Palpatine heavily implied, because my thought process, and this is just my head spinning. What if it's something like Palpatine created this person in Anakin to use as a tool in the dark side, and so the light side was like, all right, I'm going to create somebody to be the counterbalance, right? You're going to create somebody powerful dark, because that's something that was touched upon in The Last Jedi. Darkness rises, light to meet it. Whenever one side grows in power, the other side corrects itself. So that's my kind of thought process right now. It's not Palpatine created this thing, because I think if Palpatine created this thing, we would have seen it already. He would have been after it. But it's a balancing act, and I think that this makes so much sense to me because Dave Filoni is writing this, or not writing it, but he's directing this episode. And I don't think we're going to get a whole lot about this until episode. And I think episode 5 is going to drop a whole ton of shit since it's written by Dave Filoni. I think we're going to get into the nitty gritty of the more spiritual stuff in Star Wars in that episode. And we're going to talk about this baby Yoda and what it means. I definitely think that's coming in episode 5.
Like, so in my mind, I'm thinking this baby, it has to die within this series. Otherwise, where the hell is it? Like, we've not heard about any other baby Yoda species at all in any of the new movies, any of the new canon,
So, I'll counter with this. This baby's 50 right now, and it's a baby still. There's only 25 years in between now and the sequels, where we are in this. It'll be 75 by the time the sequels happen. If I had to guess, if this, I'm not sure this character is going to be important. All of this is hypothesizing. None of this could ever happen. I'm just pulling at interesting strands of ages and Filoni being so heavily involved in this, and Filoni being so heavily involved in the future of Star Wars, as Anthony Bresnikan reported over at Vanity Fair. If I had to guess, I would say this is setting up for beyond the sequels, because at 75, he's probably very young by the time the sequels are happening. I would think that it is much more likely that what if this Yoda ends up being, I'm just going to keep calling it Yoda, even though we know that's not who it is. But this Yoda thing ends up being significant. It's for after 9. It's for after when we move further into it.
But even if it's not, sorry to interrupt you, dude, but if it's not Yoda, okay, say it's just another Yoda species, okay?
Yeah.
Isn't that still just going back to the well? I mean, why can't we do something new, man? Why do we have to keep going back to the same stuff that we already know?
The only, like, I understand what you're saying, and I would agree with you if we knew a whole bunch about Yoda. If Yoda wasn't already a giant question mark in the sky, I would agree with you. But I think that we don't know, like, Yoda is such a mystery already that I'm okay with going back to it, because this doesn't feel like let's re-explore something we have already explored. It feels like this is something we teased 40 years ago in Empire Strikes Back. Let's finally explore it.
Wouldn't it be cooler to have that mystery remain around Yoda instead of explaining the mystery through some other character that is the same species?
That's also fair. I'm not sure that we'll get complete answers because, again, I think the reason I have such faith in this is it's being done by Filoni, right? Filoni was the mentee of George Lucas. He knows Star Wars better than anybody.
No, you're
I
right.
think
If he gave us space whales.
Yeah, I love the space whale.
Look,
Star Wars has some goofy.
I can't feel it, but I'm strangling you right now through the microphone.
Wait, Empire has a space mole thing that lives in an asteroid.
Yeah, but that's just freaking cool.
But if anybody else had done this, I'd probably be like, what is this? But since Dave Filoni is so heavily involved in the series, I have faith that he's going to deliver on this in a way that nobody else would.
Right. We'll see.
We'll see. There's, like, I just dropped a whole bunch of theories on you guys. I don't think this Yoda is going to be as important as we're making it out to be right now. I think this is very much going to be a subplot throughout the entire series. And at the most, it'll be a subplot to set up for the future of Star Wars going forward after Episode 9. But I'm pretty excited to see where it goes. Watch them kill it in the next episode. And they're like, you thought this was important? You think we're going to no, we're not going to tell you shit. Fuck you.
I hope so.
Okay, let's see. I'm looking back at my notes. I had a couple notes written down. I'm going to jump way back to something that Werner Herzog's character said really quick. Do you have anything else on the Baby Yoda you want to talk about?
No, I'm good to go.
Okay. So I want to jump all the way back to Werner Herzog. I have a quote written down from the episode where he says, the Beskar belongs back into the hands of a Mandalorian. It is good to restore the natural order of things after a period of such disarray. Don't you agree? And I loved how layered that line is. Even though it's like, it's obvious. It's almost taunting him in a weird way while also having a bunch of meaning behind it. Because he's like, he knows that they took the Beskar. He knows that, that he was part of it. So he's like, yeah, you should have this back after we stole it from your people. And also, it is good to restore the natural order of things after a period of such disarray. Don't you agree? That's completely talking about the Empire. And it being gone.
Yep.
You know, he's like, you want the Beskar steel back. You want to reinstate the Mandalorians to what they were. That's all I want too, is to bring back the Empire.
Yep. I agree with that.
So I thought that line. And while we're on Werner Herzog, I've got one last thing to bring up before I'm out of stuff for this episode. But Werner Herzog talking about IG-11, and he said that he was told to just kill the thing. That could mean one of two things, right? Or, well, one of many things, but I have two theories. One of those is somebody else hired IG-11 who we do not know, because he was not told to capture Baby Yoda. He was told to kill him. And we're going to be introduced to whoever hired IG-11 later. Other option, Werner Herzog did not seem enthused with bringing back the Baby Yoda alive, and he didn't seem to bring up that you could bring him back alive until the Doctor came in.
Yeah.
My theory is that Mandalorian goes there, Herzog is just going to be like, kill the thing. Doctor comes in, he has to save face, keep it fine, whatever. Save it, bring it back. And then when the Mandalorian's gone, he's like, fuck. All right. He calls IG-11 and he's like, or he brings IG-11 in and he's like, all right, you go. The Doctor's not around to stop me this time. You just kill that thing. That's one of my theories, because I think that could lead to an interesting thing of the Doctor and Werner Herzog both trying to rebuild the Empire, but in different ways. where the doctor's like, yes, I want to study the force in this thing. Maybe if it's force sensitive, I want to study this creature and stuff and use that. And maybe Werner Herzog is like, dude, I'm older than you. I've seen the force. We don't want to mess with that stuff. Let's just kill the thing and move on. You know?
Yeah, no shit, man.
So that's really the last note I have on this episode. Wade, do you have any comments on that or anything else?
No, man. Interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way, but yeah, it's interesting, and I want to see how that unfolds.
Yes, I am very excited to see how this entire show unfolds, and you guys will be there, hopefully, with us every step along the way. To give you guys a little insight, the next episode of this is going to be coming a little bit quicker than it normally will, just because they're doing 2 episodes in the opening week. They did the first episode on Tuesday, second episode is coming on Friday, and then after that, it'll be every Friday. So you'll probably get an episode either this weekend or on early next weekend that covers episode 2. And then after that, it'll be 1 episode a week instead of 2. But thanks for listening. Wade, thank you for joining me and talking about this.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. I love Star Wars, and I love this show. I think it's great.
You can follow the Merc with the Movie blog feed. You can follow Merc with the Movie blog on Twitter at @MovieBlogMerc. This is my first time leading a show on here. I'm really not sure what all I'm supposed to plug, to be honest. Wait, what am I supposed to plug? Why don't you plug it and I'll do it next time?
No problem. You can find this show as well as others on the Merc with the Movie blog feed on your Anchor and Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, Google Play, all that stuff. You can find it, as Shawn did get correct, on the Twitter at MovieBlogMerc. Also, if you want to go online, there are some articles and stuff on the website, mercwithamovieblog.com. And yeah, me personally, you can follow me on Twitter if you want at jwade1134. That's the letter J, WADE1134. And Shawn will tell you where he can follow at, and I will have the information written down properly for him, like I realize I should have already done for next time.
I should have brought it up. Me leading on this was a last-minute decision, so that's my excuse. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Shawn_AFK, and because shameless self-promotion, you can also listen to me on the Afterlive, the unofficial Collider Live After Show podcast, also here on the Merc with the Movie blog feed. And you can also check out my Power Rangers podcast I do with fellow Afterlive co-host Mike Mixtape. You can follow us on Twitter at Go Into the Grid.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And now that we're being shameless, you can find me on SEN Afterlive. And also Go Get That Rose, Bachelor Nation podcast that Sara and I do. Sara was here earlier. And Kaylin and I do the other podcast, SEN Afterlive, and she'll be here on as many of these episodes as she can also with us. So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, don't worry. Whenever I'm hosting a show, Wade, I do this on Go Into the Grid all the time. Shameless self-promotion is what it's about, man.
Yeah. Yeah, well, now I won't feel shame anymore. I'll just do prideful plugs.
Yeah, there you go. I like
prideful promotion.
So join us next time when we talk about The Mandalorian Episode 2. Thanks for listening.